All right, this is Crom Update number 5, and I'm joined by my cohort in Turbo Crime, Jake Jacobs. Jake, how you doing?
I've been better. Um, I'm home with COVID, so I'm kind of like captive audience. You but I'm still kicking. So let's see what we can get out of me.
Good. Great. So, the first 4 episodes of Crom Update, I had you and I review my first 10 pages of uh, Claiming Skullbiter, which is the first of 4 of my additions to the Crom the Barbarian canon, and which is based on a collection that is already out and available called Crom the Barbarian Collected, and I'm revising it. So I'm going back and taking these ballpoint pen versions of the stories and some of the other material and just bringing it to this gray value place. So I sent you, and I've printed out the updated, so it's about less than 2 months later. No, a month later. And I made pretty much all of your suggestions and picked up some new stuff along the way. The only thing I think both of us are still frustrated about is my use of font for this, and trying to figure out something else to do to set it off. So I'm still stuck in that little space. But other than that,
I wonder if Courier turns off millennials.
what does? What does?
Courier.
That's the fault.
Oh yeah, typewriter. Yeah, that universal typewriter font is called Courier usually.
Oh, yeah. This year, yeah.
Um, they probably associate it with like, old
Old
time.
people,
Yeah, yeah.
which is exactly what I'm going for.
It's funny. I just sold on eBay. I just bundled up some JFK teletypes that were came over the wire. My dad had, they were from a French press agency, so they're all in French. But it was when JFK got assassinated in what was it, 1963, late 1963, I think. And
Four.
they're like crumbling in my hands, and they're like this cool font, that
Yeah, I
I
bet.
wish we had, to use. But
Yeah,
there was the typewriter font that everybody typed with, and it just kind of dates things. So, and it's also probably not the most legible, for modern eyes. But it's kind of stylish. I use Courier all the time when I'm doing display type, to try and get that, to try to get a certain look. It's a interesting font because it's mono space, which means that every letter, no matter what the letter is, takes up the same space, and that's
oh
why
yeah.
sometimes it looks a little inconsistent. I mean,
That's
it might.
that's the other reason I like it.
Right, it might be thinner, but there's never any kerning, right? Like between an A and a T, you would never see the letters bunched together. And on modern computer systems, regardless of what the font is, the computer knows, oh, we gotta move the A and the T together,
Yeah,
otherwise
get
it's gonna look
everything
like it's a word space. Yeah.
right, right. So, this is real quick. I just wanted to see if you had any other pieces of feedback because this is pretty much coming to a close. There's a couple of areas, even as I, put this together, found that I was good with. Is this an extra page? Oh, this is that. This is this page. So
Yeah, so I'm looking at the pages here real big on my computer.
mhm.
And Yeah, they definitely have an improved black and white ratio or balance.
Thank you. I was definitely going for that. It's a lot of work there. Still working
Right.
on it.
Yeah, and I like the way you did like kind of like atmospheric effects in the background. I'm looking at page 2 now, looking over the hills and the volcanoes and stuff.
Yeah.
I always try to you always try to find a stopping point, because I saw your interview with Jason Schoonover, and
Mm-hmm.
he admitted that he has a fault of over rendering and over hatching things.
Right.
So there's always a question of when is something done, right? I mean, you could always go back in.
Yep.
And the funny thing about having high tech C pens is that you could always go in thinner and thinner and thinner. Um,
Yeah.
Kurt knows of a very special pen I'm talking about. It's like a rapidograph style pen, but they're disposable and they're refillable, and they come in point 0.5, point 0.4, and point 0.3. I found my refills. I have all three. So you could go in thinner and thinner and thinner. So yeah, what still pops out to me, if you were going to go back, it would be like anywhere where you just see, raw lines, where they look like, oh, these are lines. This is not a thing, right? Like I should be looking at, the shading of a mastodon, but it looks like lines, or I should be looking at, the background of a cave, but it looks like lines, So you
Yeah.
always
Yeah. Yeah.
your eye is always searching for where is it going to pull the reader out of the story and into, just kind of like, and it comes in places where there's like, wide open spaces, or there's not a lot going on. When things are packed in, you usually draw the eye and you lead the eye from one part to the next to the next. But yeah, no, this is a really nice. This is a really nice. I'm looking at all these pages. I'm just going back and forth, and the faces where the figures are really small. We said some of the faces were a little
Yeah.
clunky before, and
Yeah.
so those definitely have like expressions. If they aren't like realistic faces in proportion and everything, then they should at least have the right expression to carry the story. And so you got that. I see you have rich blacks all around now, and
Yeah.
yeah,
Some deep.
maybe maybe since you have your fancy white liners, what was that you had? You had like an
I got
orchestra,
this new. Yeah, this thing's just this is either in my left hand while I'm inking, or I'm inking, and then I got my where's my other this bad boy here. These are my two. This is my basic two cannons I'm firing off with, to get there.
right?
But
And
then other materials get played in.
when it says extra fine tip, that's really a variable, right? Depending how you use it.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the thing I love about it. It's got that bullet type tip, but when you press down, you can get a bit of a fatter drag out of it, or if you kind of just gingerly knock things over, knock things around, you can get a real really thin line. It's a
Yeah, I
point
noticed.
seven. It's a point seven. So
Yeah, I
because I
noticed
use
on your pages here. I'm on page 3 now, where you went back in, and it's unhatching, right? So you have like hatching,
yes,
and then you have cross hatching, but then you use the white and you're unhatching, right,
yep,
over your hatching, and that's good. That's really nice. Um, so some places where you might want to dab it and do some stipples are around where your word balloon cutouts kind of need a little more, not extension, but just kind of like gradation. So like, to try to blend them into the background, like they're a little more spatter effect.
oh
If
okay,
it's a hard transition, right?
right,
Like, and then also you might have some. We spoke about this before. You had some letters that were kind of obscured by other stuff that was going on. Like I'm looking here, an earthquake buried the past, sealing off our forest. You've got some lines that are kind of encroaching on your words, and above the A in earthquake, it almost looks like you have one of those like umlauts or some kind of circle, above the A um, that might be distracting. Also, the legends say that men came. You have a silent E at the end of came, which is half buried in gray.
Yeah.
So I don't know, little details of that, but I know you're going for like the distressed look too. So it's all good.
Distressed. Yep.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yep.
The only question is how many more minutes do you want to spend on top?
Not much more, because I'm already started getting into the second story, which is submitting to the Amazons. So, of course, things that I'm picking up and learning off of number one, I'm now applying to number two and starting to use some different effects. One thing I did is free-handed some spray paint. So I just pop, 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 just to make these globes a little glowier. So this will be coming your way pretty soon. I've got 2.5 pages to go until I have like something to basically present to you in a
Yeah, you're definitely
an
playing
art
around with
director.
styles there. So you have the artwork laid out already for the whole next section?
Oh yeah, I mean these are all based on the pages that were in um, this year.
Oh right, yeah. So that you just showed me the
Yeah.
first 7, then you have
Yep.
other
And then I have 3 more. Yep. So this is the third one. I mean the second one. And so everything was just in ballpoint pen. It was just where I was at. I was doing a lot of life drawing, and there was just I was just staying with the movement and the way I was able to really make things happen in the gray values and the contrast between the texting and stuff. So yeah, and then we'll have there's a pin up. And then it's Conquering Giants is the third story. And then the fourth, another pinup. And then The Sacrifice is the last story. And I think Sacrifice is 10 pages long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 10 pages long. So, I got a bit of ways to go. But I have also incorporated some additional people. I want to announce I have 3 artists that I've reached out to for pinups. The first one was David Molina, who we have spoke about on our Turbo podcast. So I reached out to him, and he just received a complimentary copy of Crom the Barbarian to get him up to speed. And I will have him on the Crom updates, talking about what kind of approach he's going to make to his pinup. Peter Wayimi, who's a Nigerian artist that I did a inkings over some of his pencils that I had found on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to coordinate a international update recording with Peter. And then the third is a gentleman in New Zealand named James Dixon. I'll be flashing up some art so people can see what their work's about. Of course, his copy of Crom Collected is going to take about 30 days to get to, just the way it kind of flows. But these are individuals that I'm bringing in, and of course, this is a topic that you and I have been going over about incorporating artists. So I thought this was going to be a nice way to kind of get us started on working with others. And as we've said in our Turbo Pit Fighter, and I'm saying it here on my channel on Crom Collected, Crom Updates. You want to share with us? Go ahead. In our About section of our YouTube channels, you can get emails directly to Jake and I, if not just Turbo Pit Fighter or me. Of course, you got social media. You can track us down. KurtBrugel.com is where a lot of the material is being housed. So with that being said, I don't want to take up too much of everybody's time. I got to get back to work. So is there anything you have, Jake, on the outs here?
No, we've been doing a bunch of, we're kind of increasing the number of interviews that we've been doing. And we are building up kind of like a real network of creators. We still haven't figured out how we're going to turn that into collabs yet.
Yeah, that's definitely what
So,
we got to work on.
yeah, but pinups is always a great start because
Yep.
it's not too much of a commitment. from an artist. But yeah, we're gonna tape an issue. We're gonna tape an edition of B Movie She Devils.
Yes.
We're just doing the writing on, and we're going to be looking for some artists. So that's yeah, there you go. So that's in the works. Um, and the other thing is just the process, staying on top of regular time every week, if not every day, to try to make progress and move the ball forward. Because Lord knows there's always another convention happening, and there's always product. There's always demand for product on the markets. And oh my God, what I saw on last night when I went on Kickstarter, my eyes melted. But but
Well, we can hold that. We can hold that for Turbo Pit Fighter, and we talk to that, which is another channel that Jake and I just want to plug. To get people, going. We got a Turbo teaser over there. So that's just type in Turbo Pit Fighter or Turbo Comic. You'll find our channel. And every Sunday, Jake and I get together. We're going to be recording episode 80 tomorrow. And, we give updates on what's happening with Turbo and a whole bunch of other things. It's sort of base
yeah,
camp for
yeah,
what
that's
we're
our
doing. And Warriors. Every Sunday, we at least put in work, and of course, on this channel, Kurt Inker is another field of work that I'm working on. So that's what I got.
Yep. Turbo is our flagship comic because we are writing it and drawing it and inking it and publishing it on all online, documented in a process. And we're also doing these other things, comics that influence. We do where we do flip throughs. We do interviews. That's called Comic Creator Exchange. And then we're doing Crom updates, and we're doing B Movie She Devil updates. So it's growing and expanding. But Turbo is the number one thing where we want to make progress on pages and pages and pages, so that we do have a timeline where we're going to have a comic out, we're going to have a Kickstarter, and then years down the road, it'll be all compiled into a beautiful graphic novel in the bookstore.
Awesome. All right, Jake. Well, I'll see you over at the B Movie She Devil update.
All right. See you over there.